Hello and welcome to the fifth episode in Learning C series. This time I want to explain about basic operation in C. Those are include loop, conditional, which is using if and switch case, and then the last is function. Actually, I already using this loop, conditional and function in my previous video, but in this video I want to explain it more detailed so you can understand about this basic operation. Okay, now we start with loop. First, there is a for and while. For it's the parameter for is three parameters like this. First is we must define an integer variable. In this case is I define it as 0, so the initial value for I in here is 0. Why I say initial value? Because this I value will be keep increasing. Okay, and now the second is the logical operation. The logical operation here is I is less than 10. So how for is work is, as long as this operation, this logical operation hold the value as true, this line of code in the line 12 will be executed many times. And then after that, I will be increased by 1. I plus plus. This means I will be increased by 1. So this I increased by 1 will be executed after line 12. So after we print, we increase the value of I by 1. And then as you can see, the first value of I is 0. So this line will be executed 10 times because first I will be have a 0 value, and then the second loop it will be 1, the third loop it will be 3, and so on until it hold the value as 10. This logical operation will be evaluated as false, so this line will be not executed. And then there is while. For while, each parameter is just one logical operation like this. In this, the logical operation is C and T is smaller than 10. Actually, this block of code for while and for here is same. You will see. And as long as this true, this will be keep this line of code. Line 17 and 18 will be keep executed. And then as you can see, at the line 18 I increase C and T by 1. So this logical operation will keep increase, and when it reaches 10, this logical operation will be evaluated as false. So it will be printed 10 times like in for block code. To prove it, I will compile this. Method 1 and method 2. Method 2 is while and method 1 is for. Basically print the same thing. So this is why I say that method 1 and method 2, while and for here is same. Now let's move on to the conditional. For conditional, usually we using if. So in if here is actually it's similar with while. Its parameter is one logical operation like this. So in this example, I evaluated that var1 is bigger than var2. var1 is 10 and var1 is 10. var2 is 13. I write this to make you more understand. Is it true that 10 is bigger than 13? It's not true, right? So when this evaluated as false, then the block code of else here will be executed in the line of 29. But if this evaluated as true, this line or line 27 will be executed. And that's it, how it works. And actually the logical operation for if or for while, it have many forms. I listed in here. And then after that, this is the same, but I just reverse it and I'm using different logical operator. Instead of bigger than, I'm using smaller than. And then because this is not true, the line of code that will be executed is this. Okay, let's just run this. As you can see, the line 28 and 35 is executed, right? Because this logical operation is false. And then next is, here is logical operation for equal. So this logical operation will be evaluated as true if this var3 and var4 is the same value. And as you can see here, I define var3 and var4 as 15. So because 15 equal 15, so this is must be true, right? So the line 43 will be executed instead of 45. Okay, to make it more clear, let's just compile this. See, this line is executed. Oh no, this line is executed. And then here is negation. As you can see, the operation in here and here is nearly same, but this is different. Here we have the exclamation mark. Actually, this exclamation mark, what the meaning of this exclamation mark is negation. So it's just like if this hold the value as true, then it will be reverse the value. So the reverse or the opposite of true is false, right? Okay, because var3 is equal var4 and the value of this operation is true, then when we add the exclamation mark, it will evaluate it as false. So this line of code or line 51 will be executed. See, this line is executed, not this. Okay, now in my previous explanation, I just explained about the comparison with number. Now what if we want to compare two string? And in C, we're using this function strcmp, and this is to compare with string. And the return value of this function is the integer. So how it works is, if this string var1 and this string var2 is same, this function will be evaluated as 0. So 0 equals 0 will be evaluated as true, right? And then if this is true, the line 61 will be executed instead of 63. And in this code, I define string var1 and string var2 as different string, so this line will be executed, not the first. So these two strings are not same. But what if we add exclamation mark? Instead of this 61 that is executed. And that is how negation works and how strcmp works to compare string. Okay, now actually for if operation, in here I just explained about after if I'm using else. Actually there are else if. So if this evaluated as false, the line of code will be moved to this. It will be test this logical operation. But if this is evaluated as false too, it will be moved to this. But if this evaluated as false again, the last is else, it will be executed this. And that is how it works. Let's see. Okay, let's compile this. And then var1 is bigger than var2, right? Because this is true, then what is executed is this line 69. Let's test if this is false. The is that executed is here. These two strings are not same, because this value or this operation evaluated as false, so it move on to this line of code. But what if this is also false? Instead of this, it executed this line 75. All operation logic above evaluated as false. Yes. And I think, yeah, this is the another logical operation. In this code I just using bigger than, smaller than. Actually there are equal, bigger than, equal, smaller than, and not same. Equal exclamation mark is as not same. So after this is the combination of loop, while, and if. So in here actually you can, instead of logical operation, you can use integer value for the parameter for while. So all value except 0 will be evaluated as true, but 0 will be evaluated as false. And then here, what I mean this while one is, this line of code will be executed forever until I break it. Here break is inside the if. So if c and t is bigger than or equal 10, this loop or this while will be break. So if not, then instead of break, it will be execute this line 92 and 93. So if you can see the logic, this will be print 10 times like our previous example. Okay, let's just compile. Look, it's print 10 times because this will keep increasing 10 times, but in the increasing, before it reaches 10, it will bigger than or equal 10. So this line of code will be executed 10 times. And now I rarely use this, but the alternative of if is switch case. So for the switch case, in C what we can evaluate it using switch case is just a number value like integer. In this case, I using var 5 in here, var 5 equal 5. Here the line case 1. What the meaning of case 1 is, if the var 5 equal 1, this line of code will be executed, print var 5 equal 1. But if var 5 equal 2, this line 100 will be executed. But if it equal 3, it will be executed this. And then the last is if all of this case is false, or if the value of var 5 is not 1, not 2, or not 3, the block of code that will be executed is line 106. So the line of default here. Let's test. As you can see, it executed this line. But what if we change the value of var 5 as 2, and it execute this line 100, var 5 equal 2. Okay, now the last is I want to explain about function. So in this code, I already define a function. So the generic way to define a function is like, first we must define the return value of this function. In this case, the return value is integer variable or integer data type. And then the second is, this is the name of the function. This function has name is addition. And then the second is define the parameter. The parameter in here is var in 1 and var in 2. And as you can see here, the return value of this, I add the var in 1 that is integer and var in 2 that is integer 2. This operation will be resulting in integer value 2, right? So how it works, I think I just compile it. So now in will be 17, because what addition do is it just basically add var in 1 and var in 2. So in this case, var in 1 is var 5 and var in 2 is var 4. var 5 is 2 here, and var 4 is 15. So 15 add 2 is 17. I think that's all. I hope you understand. I hope my video here can cover the general of basic operation in C. See you in the next video.